Happy Monday, everyone. You know, as happy as a Monday can be when there's flat earthers in the world. Oh my god. Dance, dance, dance.
We're living on a disk, floating through space,
No,
with
we're
a
not.
tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE, and welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Paramount just did to Star Trek Discovery. That's right, after the 5th season, no more adventures in the 32nd century. I hear it's because the producers of Star Trek obviously know the Earth is flat and have felt guilty all these years perpetuating the globe lie of space and are bringing Star Trek to an end. Or something. Hello! Happy Monday, everybody. I hope you're all having a wonderful start to the week, you know, a wonderful as it can be when, you know, there's still people in the earth that think the earth's flat and it's a cold March, or is that just me living in Scotland? Anyway, you know what Monday means. It means we go to the Discord of Derp, otherwise known as the Cosmology Tartaria 24/7 Discord. Yeah, they're flat earthers over there, but the majority of the people there, even though the discussions and that are heated, the majority of the people in that server are flat earthers that aren't as repulsive as some, you know, as some can be.
When I was a young boy, I grew up on the farm. I'm a country boy, and I used to fuck the cows and the pigs. I used to fuck the pigs, and the cows would come, and I would pat them and look into their eyes.
Yeah, yes, yeah. So there's some flat earthers that aren't nice people, and I'm not saying that server is devoid of the hard ones, but the majority of them are actually decent enough to talk to. So if you want to go to a Discord server full of flat earthers and actually have some conversations, then the link to this Discord server is in the description. Also means you get to come into the voice chat and listen to it over there and stuff as well, and you know, even sometimes get involved in the debates that I have. So yeah, that's fun. Thank you to everybody who's here already. 260 watching, and I've barely even started, so thank you. That's amazing. The names that go across the bottom of the screen is supposed to be all my patrons and members, and I've got a thing that automatically updates it every 30 days. Problem is, you guys broke it. Kind of you, Ziggy, and a couple of others especially. It reached the max amount of characters that the thing that transfers it over would allow, because you guys gifted so many memberships to me, so it hasn't updated the way it should. So I'm gonna have to go in and do that all manually. So if you are a member and you don't see your name on there, I love you just as much, honestly. But thank you very much for the massive amounts of support. But you know what we do. Let's go and have a look, see who is in there. Discord. Oh, Brenda, yeah, I see you in the chat. Yeah, I did listen to a lot of the Witsit in Blue Marble Sciences stream. He's working hard for that top left. 56% so far, I think Gamma Witless will win. Let's go. Oh, quite a few in there. I do need to question about who's made this horrible font. Voice text. Right, let's go in. Have fun, guys. It's kind of hard for me to interact with the chat whilst I'm in there. I can every now and then, but thank you very much for watching, and please enjoy the derp.
We try to let them not trigger us, and we
So
usually fail.
what do we get to talk about? Anything? Or is it going to be strictly flat Earth?
No, it's mostly strictly flat Earth.
Well, this is an impossible ask. There's no way we're not going to get triggered.
Well, I mean, like Jim likes to throw viruses at him, but
Jim likes to throw viruses.
when we do it on McToon, he just ends up muting the whole stream. So
You better not mute me.
Dr. Mario?
Kick him out, you can't.
Yeah, there's going to be.
For some reason. I don't know what's going on.
Hey, Craig, what's up?
Oh, hello. How you doing, guys?
Welcome.
Great.
Me trigger people? What are you on about? When have I ever been known to trigger people?
Like whenever you can, as much as possible, typically.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, me. Right. Yeah, no, you maybe correct.
Hey, flat Earth, yeah.
It's
Hello.
easy to trigger people
Hello.
when you're wrong. When you're wrong, it's very easy to trigger people. So
No, it's very easy
Go,
to trigger
go,
people when you
FTFE.
see what triggers them.
Go,
As
go.
in, you're triggered right now just by my presence, it seems.
no, I'm not triggered at all.
That's
Getting
the action of
triggered
someone
by
who's not
talking
triggered,
about
of course.
I'm actually I'm actually laughing that you're here. So there you have it.
You're actually what, sorry?
Laughing.
Laughing at what
It's
in
funny.
particular?
It's funny. Very silly.
What's very
I laugh every
The
week
Flat
that
Earth, I
he's here.
completely agree.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good one. Yeah, come on, you can do better. Jason, did you want to have a stab at it? You can just, right off the bat,
Please
go
don't
for it,
stab
right
me.
for the throat.
I'd rather not be stabbed if it's all the same.
Fight the flat Earth, innit?
Hello, you can call me Craig, Fight, FTFE,
that's what I was gonna ask.
Specky
Craig,
twat over there,
alright then.
Big Nose, whatever you like.
All
How
right,
you doing?
Craig. All right then, Craig.
Craig, well done. Definitely
How's
Craig.
it
Don't call
going?
me Craig.
Can I call you Craig?
I'm going to go on a limb here and say, I know where you live.
I do as well. I also know where I live, so cool.
I'm assuming you live in the same county where your accent's from.
No,
I think
don't.
he lives on a flat plain.
Because if
That's
you're
why I
not,
think
they're
he
not
lives.
bollocks there, no, totally. But,
I haven't lived in Bristol for a good 20 odd years.
all right, right.
I live in the land of haggis.
Mm-hmm.
The land of haggis. That's the nastiest
He's-
stuff ever.
I've got
You sound
haggis
like
in the
gibberish.
freezer, actually. My mum
Sounds
like
always
gibberish.
gives me
Haggis,
one.
isn't that a meat?
Haggis is lovely.
Meat, that's kind of a term that could almost be used for haggis, yes.
Well, you can't deny it. It's delicious, though.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous with some neeps and tatties.
Oh, yeah, but that don't.
You guys saying like actual words still?
Yeah.
Really weird to talk about the flat
What the hell?
Earth and,
What the hell is that?
This is the Americans listening going, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, whenever we talk about haggis, the words are always nice.
No, haggis is the great unifier, you see.
Yeah.
Haggis first, then you get down to calling each other.
I thought guns were the great equalizer.
Something
No,
to do,
haggis
right?
is.
Okay, right, my Discord audio was a bit louder, to turn that down. Right,
So,
hello,
Matt, you're
I've
gonna-
not spoken to you before. Apparently you want to stab me or something, so please go ahead.
No, I want to stab the Pope, not you.
Yeah, that's much better, Jason.
He's got
Thanks
more
for clarifying.
security, I'll tell you that.
So apparently, we're here to talk about the flat Earth then.
Yeah, that's generally the
All
idea.
right, cool. So when did you find out it was flat then?
I didn't. I'm yet to find any evidence that suggests that.
Oh, you're a Glober.
Well, my name's Fight the Flat Earth, so what would that indicate?
Oh, I thought it was. Well, yeah. No, I didn't know that really.
It didn't click.
So really, what I'm trying to do now is pull something out of my ass that's going to prove that you're wrong and I'm right about the flat Earth.
Well, that's generally what flat earthers do. When I ask for evidence about the flat earth, this stuff gets pulled out of their ass, yes.
Fuck, I'm in trouble here then, because I'm winging this. Let me have a quick look at my
So, are you a flat earther?
I am, yeah.
Hello.
I don't really go on about it that much. I just kind of decided there's enough circumstantial evidence to err on the side of it being
There's
flat.
enough circumstantial evidence, so that's
yeah.
Your standard of evidence is circumstantial.
No, it's not. I don't really talk circumstantial evidence because I know you can't, but there is a huge amount of it undeniably.
Step up the aggression, Jason. Get him. Get him.
Undeniably interesting. Well, I've had close to 700 debates, more than actually, and not once has evidence of a flat Earth that under scrutiny doesn't quickly fall apart ever been presented. So you may be the first.
That's your.
I think the audience. We're going to prepare the audience for tantrums in place of tangibility with Mr. Fight the Flat Earth here. Let's go.
You just went for a twofer to try to trigger the whole audience. Come on, guys.
I've never seen him win anything, so there you have it.
Actually, but the thing is, won lots of stuff. I've got a trophy for winning a bowling competition when I was 12. Nice. I've got my silver swimming certificate. Would you like to see it?
I can see it.
What was the score?
Bowling ball is what did it.
All right. Let's scattergunning, guys. Let's try to keep it back on track. This is how he easily escapes anyone trying to corner him. Go ahead, Jason.
Give me a minute. I'm looking up something.
Okay. Well then.
That's why I've gone quiet.
Well, let's let Jason collate his thoughts, and someone else can attempt to stab me or whatever it is you guys like to do.
All right, Princess. So what you say is that light is refracting through the atmosphere, right? And it's how you can see too far, it brings things up. Right. At what point do the stars start refracting so they get down to the horizon and then they're brought back up and instead of disappearing over the horizon?
What do you mean?
Why don't they just instantly refract? Well, at what point are the stars supposed to refract through the atmosphere? If you're looking near the horizon where they disappear, shouldn't they be like coming back up?
Shouldn't they be coming back up from where? You can see them
The
how far you
refraction
can
that
see
you're talking
because
about.
of the refraction that's happening. When they reach the horizon,
right.
the refraction is higher than other places, but we're always looking through an atmosphere of varying density, so there's always refraction happening when we see things on
makes
Earth.
no sense.
Right, but
When
when
it
you're
makes
looking
complete
at
sense, your
star
misunderstanding
trails,
of it doesn't change things.
So when you're looking at star trails, right, they curve perfectly in a circle down towards the horizon. At no point do they bend back up due to refraction.
Actually, if you look at the positions of the ones near the horizon, they do tend to look a little distorted.
So you're saying they wiggle back up as they get near the horizon? That's
They
interesting.
do
I don't think I've
whatever
ever
the
seen
current
that.
refractive conditions dictate. But if we see anything that we see is through a medium of varying density, so there is refraction happening.
Not when
Well,
you
why do the star trails have a perfect arc in them? Wouldn't they have wiggles as they go through those different refractive mediums? They seem like they're perfect lines.
You said that they're perfect. Have you ever drawn to see if they are, in fact, a perfect circle, or are you just making the assumption they are?
I don't need to draw it. I can see it.
Right. Okay. So your eyes are able to dictate. Your eyes are able to see if something is a perfect circle without any kind of measuring to confirm that.
Oh, there we go. So you want me to measure it, not draw it? I can measure it.
Yeah, I would like you to measure
draw
to
it, though.
verify your claim.
There is no perfect circles.
Well, there we go then.
Right, I'm just saying I don't see any. I don't see the wiggling of the lines as they go through the refractive
Well, have you
mediums.
calculated how much the lines should change based on the refractive conditions, or are you
No, I
just
fucking hate
saying
math.
what you think should happen?
Yeah, you said the C word. I don't use math, bro.
You don't use math. Well, there's the problem. If you're going to talk about refraction, then math is a very important part of that discussion because we've quantified refraction with mathematics.
Yes.
Okay, Princess, you believe in the math that they told you to get those,
Do you know
those
that
numbers,
when
yeah.
you call people princess, it means you like to be on the bottom?
Should I call you daddy?
I mean, if you want to be the one that likes being on top, sure.
You ready yet, Jason?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I've got my question.
Well,
I was going to ask.
There was someone else that before we get back to you, Jason, we will. I promise. There was someone else that was calling me ridiculous for mentioning refraction. Who was that?
I'll take that position, even though it may not have been me.
Well, no, I'd rather the person that actually said it, because I'd like to hear their objections to the fact that refraction exists.
I think it was God Rocking, actually.
Yeah, refraction does not exist, especially
refraction does not exist.
One layer.
The extreme claim. Could you please explain how I can see?
If you're near the horizon, you're only going through one layer of atmosphere, not many. Just one.
Incorrect. There's always varying densities to the atmosphere.
Oh, there is. So
yeah, and you're always looking down to the horizon. So there's always going to be refraction happening to the light that comes to your eyes through the atmosphere, because the atmosphere is not one continuous density at any point in time. As I am breathing now, there is hot air coming out of my mouth. That hot air is changing the temperature of the atmosphere, which will in turn alter the refractive qualities of the atmosphere. Whenever you are looking through the atmosphere, no, that's how refraction works. A change in temperature or density will change the refractive index and the refractive qualities. It may only be a very, very tiny amount, but unless there is 100% perfect, uniform density of a medium, there will always be some kind of angle of incidence change going on and refraction happening when you are looking at it.
Everything I've ever seen says it's like 0.000 is no refraction, and refraction is 0.00001.
Of what their numbers? 0.00001 of what?
Not even worth calculating. It has no bearing on anything.
You just said some numbers, but they are of what? You just said some things, but you didn't explain what they're in reference to.
They're in reference to light traveling through the medium that is one layer above the Earth. When you're looking out over the water,
it's not just one layer, because if you're looking at the horizon, you're looking down.
One layer.
There's not one layer of the atmosphere, because if you are looking at the horizon, you are looking down.
No, you're not.
Yes, you are. The horizon is below your eye level, is it not?
No, it's not.
Wait, so the horizon isn't like, say you're 6 feet tall, the horizon wouldn't be 6 feet below you if the Earth was flat?
Yeah, but I'm going to be looking at a star that's 6 feet above the horizon. So there's what you're talking about.
Are you absolutely convinced 100% that there is zero change in temperature or density through the entire bit of air that is looking towards that star? Because unless it is a 100% uniform density material, there is refraction happening regardless of how little.
Yeah, but it's so little, it's not even worth calculating. That's what they say.
Have you attempted to calculate it, or is that just things you are saying?
Any real scientist would
do the maths and not just say things.
Yeah, they say it's not even worth calculating. It's not even.
Who is eating their mic?
Not to worry about it.
I think Jason found his evidence.
Yeah,
okay, we'll get there. Again, can you cite me scientists saying, "Oh, we just don't bother calculating that," or are you just making things up because you want them to be true, which is the correct way to be a flat earther? I will congratulate you on that.
No, I'm referencing all the stuff I pulled up on YouTube, all the different experiments.
And you can point out parts where they go, "Oh, that's just not worth calculating," can you?
It always takes two separate mediums, not just one. Not just
and
air.
Again, the atmosphere is a varying density medium. It's a varying temperature medium.
It makes such a little bit of a difference. It's not even worth calculating.
But it does make a difference, and you're saying it doesn't make it worth calculating, but I think the people that do the calculating would very much disagree with you.
Well, if you're going to
you've made a bunch of claims, present evidence that that is how it works, and we can then maybe talk.
Think it's going to bend light, then you're crazy. Refraction
refraction exists and light bends. Yes, that's a thing that happens.
It deflects it and reflects it. It doesn't send it in a curvature.
That's exactly what it does when in the conditions that
we
have.
No, it does not. It
all the evidence suggests that you are wrong. Of course, you're just saying things.
That's a well-known fact.
What's a well-known fact?
Line to another.
What's a well-known fact? Sorry.
It refracts it from one straight line to another. And it's also
it refracts it from one straight line to another. Those are definitely words, maybe even a coherent sentence, but it doesn't make sense in the context of this conversation.
Well, it's also has to do with the angle of incidence. When the light hits whatever water
And if there is a
particle
change in
is-
temperature or density, there will be a change in the angle of incidence. Making a new
Yeah,
angle of
that's
incidence,
right.
meaning a
So it
new
could send the
refractive
light up,
index,
it could
and a
send the
change in
light
the
down,
angle of the light.
It could send it right, could send it left, could send it up, could send it down. Depends on where it hits the water molecule.
Yeah, and
It's
in
not
general,
always
it tends to
gonna
go up or
send it
down the
down.
most because
Not
that's where the
always
variation
gonna
is in
send it down.
density and
No.
temperature.
It's going to send it in whatever direction the angle and incidence causes it to go. And
Yeah,
you know
again,
this.
so yes, there is an angle of incidence because the refractive conditions are changing because the atmosphere is not one density. We do not live in a layer of glass.
Okay, but the angle of incidence makes a difference in which direction the light goes.
Yeah, depending on
Doesn't always go
the
down.
amount
What you're
of
saying-
refractive
what you're
change
saying
and
is
the
it
angle
always
that the
goes
light comes
down.
in.
It doesn't.
So
You're claiming it always goes down, and it doesn't.
on Earth, it tends to go down.
It tends
Because
to. Now there you
it
go.
tends to, yes.
Tends to, but
Yeah.
no.
In
it doesn't.
general, that's what we observe. That the light is bent
No,
down.
not in. You're just words. You're just making this
No,
shit
no.
up.
In fact, I can cite the entire works of Andrew
got
Thomas
no
Young, the
evidence
world's
for that.
leading expert on refraction, to back up everything
You got
I say.
no evidence for the fact that it goes down.
Apart from
every
the
time.
world's leading expert that does all the experiments and stuff, of course.
Who's that idiot?
Again,
The
I
world's
just
leading
mentioned his name, Andrew Thomas Young. Maybe if you did some research and read his work, you might understand what you're talking about. Because currently, you don't appear qualified for this conversation.
Oh fuck! I've studied refraction
I doubt that at all.
for a very long. Yes, I have, and I
No,
don't
you
give
haven't.
shit what you say. I
That's
really
a
don't
complete
care.
lie
what
because what you were saying is complete bollocks about refraction. So
same with you. What you're saying is complete bollocks.
no, what I'm
You're
saying is
full of
correct.
bullshit.
The atmosphere
You're
is
full
a
of
varying
bullshit.
density
You don't
medium
know what
and
you're-
will therefore
you're
have
just-
different levels of
you
refraction,
are
even
just
looking in a
called-
straight line.
You're a zealot, and that's all there is to it.
I don't think you understand what zealot means. You're just doing the Nathan Oakley thing now of being angry that I've debunked you and calling me names. Good job. Anyway, you boring. Let's move on. Jason, how are you doing?
Yeah, you're boring too. I think
Yeah,
F
thank you.
stands for
No, I've moved on
fuckhead.
from you now. You can stop talking. I'm talking to Jason now. There's a good boy.
I'll stop when I want to. Thanks.
Okay, no, I'm talking to Jason now, so you can. Thank you.
Go ahead. I might intervene.
No, I'm talking to Jason right now. Good boy.
I don't care. I might intervene.
Are you not
Deal
able to
with
behave? Oh, okay, I'll just mute you. So
Deal
I'm talking to
with
Jason.
it. Just shut up and deal with it.
Hello.
Remember
Okay,
what I said about him trying to trigger you, everyone?
Have you finished, Geodetic?
Hello, FTFE. I'm Smurf.
Jason is next. So I'm muting the one that was being mean until I want him to come back in. So please.
Nah, he'll be fine. I'll mute him, dude. Don't worry about it. He'll be fine.
Jason, how you doing, bud? You ready with that evidence?
Oh, I don't know if I'd say I've got any evidence. I've got a question.
Oh, that's
though.
typical flat earthers. No worries. So have you got anything?
Okay. Well, not really. No, I have. But I can't sit here and argue the stuff you're talking about there because that is.
Well, okay, you don't have to argue.
I'm not worried to admit. I'm not worried to, and I'm not worried about admitting that either. Right. So I'm going to stick with something that hopefully we could both see eye to eye on, right? And technically, if we were there, we'd both be able to see it for ourselves. But we're not there. But you'll get me. You know this guy, Bumgardner, who jumped out of the balloon.
Bumgardner, yeah, definitely jumped out of a big balloon, correct.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
The footage in that, it shows a ball Earth clearly, right? At all times.
Well, not really. There is a bunch of fisheye cameras on that. I don't think you could use those cameras to determine anything.
Right.
It's definitely not evidence of a globe or a flat Earth in any way, as far as I'm concerned. It's it wasn't set up to determine that. Is my point.
Well, yeah, that's what I can imagine. But what you see is when he opens the hatch to get out of the capsule, right? There's one of the cameras is still running in the capsule, and they show the feed from it, yeah, and you can see the horizon through the door, and it's perfectly flat.
Through the fisheye lenses, yeah.
Well, it's not. It can't be a fisheye lens because it's perfectly flat, and you can tell.
All of the cameras on that were GoPro. Every single one of them was a GoPro camera with some degree of barrel distortion that's already been discovered when we've looked at the footage.
Well,
and
you
Fisheye
say
can also change things that are curved to flat, just as they can change flat to curved, depending on what position they're on the lens and what bit of the barrel distortion they're on. But yeah, that jump, it doesn't have any reference or anything on any of the cameras, and there's no way of using what was set up there to determine what's going on, because of all the fisheye and we don't know what angle the cameras were pointing. It's, I would never get that and go, oh look at that.
Well, no, I
Earth,
think it's,
Oh
no. Well, no, I'm coming from the point of view of it's a globe, isn't it? That's what you're trying to argue. So
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. The cameras outside show it to be a globe.
Yeah, the
Except for that one camera that's inside, and you can clearly, but the one inside you can clearly see it's flat, man.
Yeah, but again,
there's
it's a fisheye camera. It's a GoPro camera. They're all fisheye.
There's no distortion on it.
All cameras have a level of barrel distortion of some kind. There is no camera that has completely zero. There's always some level of barrel distortion. But again, all of the cameras used on that jump were GoPro cameras specifically, and they all had quite a large degree of barrel distortion.
How do you know this?
Because I've researched it. Because I've had globe earthers go, oh, you can see the curve there, and I'm like, wait, hold on, we can't claim that because it's not set up to show that, and these cameras are clearly,
it's very visible when you look at it. It's not that. That one camera is definitely not fisheye lens.
Right, so all the other cameras, apart from that one, were fisheye. Do you know which camera it was? Could we look at the specs of it?
That's why I'm asking you. If you had an answer to it. Because if you look at it, the footage, you can clearly see it, plain as day.
You can see what a distorted camera is showing. A camera that isn't level, and a camera that only has a very low field of view through the door. Even if the Earth was flat and that was a perfect camera with no barrel distortion of any kind, that low field of view of looking through the door of the capsule really couldn't help us determine a lot. The lower the field of view, the less you can actually see.
Okay, I'm going to take your word there. If I want to post somewhere, I'll put it into the voice text, yeah?
Yes. Voice text.
Right, okay.
Hello,
FTFE. I'm going to go with what you said there, FTFE, right? But I'm just going to leave you with this still out of this footage because this does not look like it's got a fisheye lens attached to it for me.
Hi, this is Smurf.
Smurf, you really want to do this?
Yeah. One sec, Smurf. I'll just make sure that Jason's all finished with what he's saying.
Has he put it up?
Yeah, I mean, I can see the picture from Jason. What curve there? Again,
that does look flat. You got to admit.
Yeah, a lot of things look flat until you've got other references to base that on. Again, it's such a low field of view. There's no way of really telling what's going on there. And without, the 100% specifics of the camera and the lens and the barrel distortion involved, and if the camera was level and things like that, we can't determine anything. Again, there's no point using something that wasn't set up to be evidence as evidence. It's better to do things yourself to remove variables and actually perform experiments and stuff, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Come good to that.
Okay. Well, Smurf really wanted to say
I'm
something.
only taking your value there because I'm going to go off and check about those
please
cameras,
do,
man.
And never take what I say as fact because I get things wrong. I am, mostly human.
Because if I find out it's wrong, I'm going to be back and I'm going to be hassling you.
Yeah, do it. And here's the thing: if I'm wrong, I will always admit that I am wrong. That's something that I like to do.
Except for when you don't know enough to know why you're wrong, but you're still wrong, right?
It's when I understand the conclusion, but don't have the specific knowledge to explain my route to the conclusion, which was what I had to go and research. And, everything I researched supported the conclusion. So, that's how it does. Anyway, thank you, Jason. That was interesting. Felix has brought up a lot. So, Smurf, you wanted to stab me or whatever it is next.
Yes, Well, as you're aware, I'm regularly exposed to all this information, and well, I just don't believe that I'm on a globe. And so, what I'd like to ask you is how would you persuade me to see what you believe, what you claim to believe is the truth, that we're on a globe? Could you please correct me, try to educate me? How would you come about to bring me to see the light? Me individually.
Your standard of evidence, really.
Well, I simply just don't believe I'm on a globe, so I don't know where to begin.
I mean, beliefs are irrelevant to me. I just base
right.
position
Well, okay,
on logic and
well,
evidence. So, I would try and figure out what your evidence is, and
what I argue is that I ask that you try to convince me that I'm on a globe.
Well, you can measure the Earth's rotation yourself.
How?
Use a pendulum. Easiest way.
Oh,
there's many other ways, but
can we skip the pendulum, because I don't believe in the pendulum at all.
Again, beliefs are irrelevant, and science doesn't care what you believe.
Right.
Again,
I realize.
You can lead an idiot to a book, but you can't force him to take in knowledge.
Yeah, I hear you. The pendulum is a mechanical thing. Well, I have seen the schematics of it, and then here's the website. You can order one. The thing is, it's mechanical. It can be turned. It doesn't move unless you
mechanical.
It doesn't. Yeah, what I mean is,
every experiment in the world is mechanical.
Well, it doesn't function on its own.
It's not supposed to function on its own. That's not how it measures the Earth's rotation. There's nothing about physics that said it would just move on its own.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough.
What if Smurf lives on the equator? Then how does that prove it to him that the Earth is spinning?
Oh,
that's what I'm asking.
I actually found a place that has a Foucault's pendulum on the equator, so...
I'm asking, for you to prove to me that I'm on a globe. I want to where I can
Well, I just
realize
told you I can measure the Earth's rotation, and you went, I don't believe it. So, it's kind of
hard.
I'm
still entertaining the idea,
Well, you just said you don't believe it, so you're not really entertaining it.
Well, perhaps
the problem is that you have a
belief,
and that's the issue. You need to get rid of that.
I agree.
Subjectively, evidence.
Perhaps you could, persuade convince me to share the same perspective.
Again, I've just told you can measure the Earth's rotation yourself, and pendulums aren't the only way. There is so many different ways to measure the Earth's rotation, but I'm interested. You would just go to all of them.
I'm interested, although Einstein said no optical instrument can do that, but I'm interested to hear you.
Yeah, as in you can't, just look and do it with something like that. It's not really the way it works, because relativity has certain rules we have to follow, but there's many other things than just optical experiments under the definition that he was using.
I'm interested. I'm still not still don't share your perspective, but please enlighten me.
Well, like I said, there's many ways of measuring Earth's rotation. You can do it using gyroscopes. You can mechanical or fiber optic or ring lasers. You can there's experiments using spinning levitated balls in a magnetic field that react to Coriolis forces and change the way they spin, things like that. There's superfluid phase coherence that has zero friction, so is more susceptible to Coriolis forces that you can use to measure and things like that. There's hundreds of different ways to measure the Earth's rotation, and many of these ways are easy to do as just a normal person. You don't need to have science research grants and laboratories with equipment. You can just do these things yourself.
I go on. Imagine I'm a student and you're a teacher in the classroom. Imagine that.
Well, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to go through the physics of how these work, of each of them?
Well,
you just told me you don't believe in the Foucault's pendulum. So, of me talking about the physics of how it works seems kind of irrelevant.
I'm not trying to persuade you that you're on a flat plane. I'm asking for you to help me see.
I just told you there's a bunch of ways to measure the Earth's rotation.
Yes,
I can provide you literature to to look up with scientific papers and methodologies behind them. I can give you basics behind what I understand, but a lot of them are very highly involved scientific experiments under controlled conditions that require reading entire papers and stuff to really go into details about them. But the fact is, all this exists, and it's very, very easy to find and replicate yourself. And so that's why I said to you, well, what's your standard of evidence? Because I can give you measurements, but the first thing I did was give you a measurement, and you went, I don't believe it.
Oh, it's being honest,
Well, then if you don't believe it, then there's not really much I can do. people that
No,
have
I-
beliefs
well,
are very hard to shift, because that's
Is that what you
a
would
belief
say?
is.
If,
A belief is
I don't know
something
your
that
background.
exists without evidence, right?
I don't know your background, but if you were a school teacher and if a student said, "Well,
I'm
I don't
definitely
believe
not a
it,"
school
well,
teacher.
the student still has to learn, though.
Yeah, and the teacher would probably provide the student with the correct literature to do research and find the information and take it in themselves, and then answer any questions the student had about the literature and things like that. There's, you know, a teacher doesn't just go, well, this is it, learn it. A good teacher encourages students to find things out for themselves so that they're able to accurately use the information. So I can provide you with the basics, and I can tell you where to find the information, and you can look it up.
Okay.
You gesturing with a drink full of ice cubes by chance?
Sorry, I am. Yeah, my bad.
I
I didn't realize I'd literally holding that right next to the microphone.
I don't want to
Just seeing
take
it-
over
seeing
the
if I was
radio.
correct.
I don't want to take over the
Yeah,
radio.
does anyone else have any issues? Want to hop in there? Guess I can't say metaphorically take a stab at it because Craig Trick takes offense at that.
Thank you. I don't want to. Thank you.
No worries. Right, next. No?
Well,
No one
we
else?
can just chill. Or we can, watch a movie now. We had Professor Parks last night. I think he's in here. He said he loves these
Professor
shows.
Parks?
He's yeah, we love him. We had a nice long chat.
That's a good name. So, guys, how's that flat Earth map research going? You guys had a few thousand years to get on that now.
Where's Jim? Jim worked out the budget that the Globus had the other day to use it.
Jim just made a bunch of numbers up and said,
"Oh no,
We're all inherently lazy, us flat earthers. That's why we haven't got a map.
He took $64 million a day times however many years.
Again, who says
did all the
that's just
math.
for Globers? If Jim wants to use those NASA resources, then he just needs to go and get a job at NASA and whatever that entails. No one's going to stop him getting a job at NASA if he's able to, to do that. It's a thing that anybody can go and do. So those resources are not just for Globers; they are for people interested in science.
Yeah, they wouldn't let him fly a space shuttle, though. Let's face it.
I mean,
I think we have
if he
some.
proved that he could fly a space shuttle and he was good at it, then they probably would let him do that.
Don't we have some nice measurements of non-curvature, of a lack of curvature on MC Tunes /XD Spherical Access site?
Oh no, Whitsitt was explained that earlier by a surveyor on Blue Marble Science's stream. Exactly why he's wrong about that, and it involves understanding what the Bessel formula actually is and when it's applied.
The Bessel formula.
Yeah.
So he went into some Blue Marble Discord to have a debate about it. Oh man.
Well, yeah, they were talking about it with an expert surveyor, and Whitsitt went in there, and actually Whitsitt admitted several times that he doesn't know what the document says because he hasn't read it all, and he said several times, so I could be wrong about this, and kind of agreed with what the surveyor was saying in his Whitsitt way. So.
Well, I mean, it's 900 pages, but to me, they made lots of measurements of 180 degrees accurate flat Earth with varying degrees of accuracy.
Until you apply the correct corrections to make the measurements of what they have to be, of course, because you have to remember that all the angles have to be facing the same way and stuff. So the corrections aren't to change the angles, they're to have all the angles facing the same way so you can compare them to each other. And that's why I would suggest researching things like the Bessel formula and what it's for and when it's applied.
I wanted to say something on the map thing.
Please go ahead.
FTFE, have you heard of the coastline paradox?
The coastline paradox, please explain it to me.
So it basically is that the way coastlines are, they're kind of fractal in nature. Like if you keep going closer into them to get the details, you're never going to get to a point where you don't have some crevices to account for. So ultimately, you can never calculate the true length of a coastline, and ultimately, it kind of builds up exponentially when you try to do that because you end up having to simplify parts of it. So it kind of builds up as you try to quantify the whole thing. Yeah. So basically, it means that you can never make an accurate map of a landmass.
Well, in the sense that a coastline in that it is always changing, and there's always variations in what it is. And you're right with, like, you know, if you were to go closer and closer into a rock that's on the shoreline, it would have more and more bends. So, you know, it is simplified to a degree, but what you will find is that the globe, when you take the distances that the globe say, is the only way to accurately depict the correct distances between point A and point B. Be it if that is over a shoreline point or not, it doesn't really matter. But the globe is the only map that will give you the correct distances between any 2 points.
Well, you would only be able to say that if you've seen all the other possible ways to do it.
What do you mean all the other possible ways to do it? The globe gives you
besides the Earth being a sphere, right? But you know, yeah. Well, I'm just saying, you know, just to make a definitive statement on it like that, you would have to know all the other methods, all the other possibilities of, you know, calculating these distances. Besides just, you know, maybe the typical flat Earth conception you have without taking any assumptions into account, right? You're just kind of assuming that flat surface, you know, but you don't take into account different effects that could be having, you know, like you take too many assumptions. You know, all flat Earth says is the claim is that the curvature is missing, right? So in terms of, you are saying that a spherical Earth is the only way you could get the distances that you do, but that would imply you've seen all the other possible ways that you could measure that. You see what I'm saying?
Well, every flat Earth map or you know, 2D representation of the world that I've seen does not have accurate distances. They all vary at some degree. There's no way on a 2D map to show a point, you know, the accurate distances between point A and point B. And what you find is when you want to find the accurate distances between point A and point B, it's a curved line that you would be able to calculate accurately using like the Haversine formula, or the other formula which is slightly more accurate, which takes into account the slight oblateness of the Earth, and that works every single time. So for that to be the accurate way, because it's been tested, and we can say, right, what is the distance between point A and point B, and we use what we know as the globe to calculate that, it matches reality every time, means that it can't work in a different way. See what I mean? There's only one way that's going to be accurate, and you calculate it doing that way, and it works every single time. And that's why I ask, is there a flat Earth map that can accurately show distances? And unfortunately, no one's ever been able to present one. The only accurate one is a globe.
The only accurate one, or the only accurate one that you've seen?
Okay. I have seen, I think, every interpretation of a flat Earth map in my research in the past, like, 4 years of doing this. And none of them have had accurate distances. If there is a way of doing it, then no one has ever presented it to me, or it doesn't exist in information that is findable. If there is a way...
the coordinate system itself is based on a sphere, so you would kind of expect any attempt to use that same coordinate system and plot it onto something other than a sphere, you would expect to have a distortion.
Yeah, because the coordinate system is just how to find 2 points. You know, it's still on a 2D surface, because the surface of something is 2D. But the coordinate system that's latitude and longitude, it is equal on the Earth. It matches what we have in reality. If we were to say, okay, so latitude and longitude is point A, and latitude and longitude is point B, to calculate the distances between those two latitudes, the only way to do it accurately is to use something like the Haversine formula, which takes into account the fact the Earth's a sphere, and then it works. All right. But
you agree that if the Earth were not a sphere, but you were to plot the coordinate system based on the Earth being a sphere, then you would still end up making that conclusion when you try to plot distances, right? Because you would end up with this. Because you would end up with distortion if you try to use that same coordinate system on a flat surface. You would end up with
distortion on a flat surface. You don't have the distortion on a globe. That's the point. Like, if you take the AE map, for instance, the Gleason map, the azimuthal equidistant projection, it diverts from that of a globe by the lines of longitude getting further apart the further south it goes, which stretches out the distances east to west exponentially, which is why when you look at Australia on the AE map, it's 2.4 times longer east to west than it actually is in reality. So although the AE map still has the coordinate system of latitude and longitude, when you use that with the map that it's on, it doesn't match reality. Because we know that Australia is not those distances. We know that the distances between the latitude points isn't as far as that map would say it is.
But that would be more the type of projection you're using, though, because, like, for example, if you take the AE map, like, and because you're using a spherical coordinate system here, right? Because that's more like the plan making. But if you take the AE map, then it's least distorted in the center, and then it gets more distorted as you go out to the perimeter, because that's the type of projection
exactly,
it is. And then so too. But then so too with the globe projection, it's just this in the same sense, but it's 3D. So you end up with maybe you could say it's less distortion that way. Because hold on, because I'm going to say why it is in my view anyway. Because, and you can correct me, right, if I'm wrong. But in my view of it, it would be the same thing on the globe projection. That as you go closer to the North Pole and the South Pole, it gets more accurate. But then as you go towards the equator, you get the distortion.
But there is no distortion on the globe. It matches reality. You can check the distances.
But it appears to be the exact same. Well, because again, if it's a spherical coordinate system, then you kind of expect that. But I just mean, to me, like it seems to me like that's the exact.
Between
no,
points
but
on
hold on,
coordinate system,
hold on. It just seems to me like it just makes more sense that instead of the globe being completely free of distortion, it's just the exact same way as the AE map, but it has 2 points that have the least distortion. So it's kind of pinched from those 2 points. So it's when you go away from both those points, so it would be right around the center.
But the globe doesn't have distortions. We can confirm that the globe is accurate. There is no distortions. You take 2 points of latitude and longitude on the globe and check the distances between them, and it matches reality. But you do the same thing on any flat map, because you can still put the latitude longitude coordinate system onto a flat map, but the distortions of what you're doing to the map will also happen to the coordinate system. So you can check the distances between 2 points on the coordinate system, and they won't match because they no longer apply to a sphere.
But the distances are calculated based on the coordinate system, right? So it's kind of like a self-proving thing there. It's a little bit of a circular thing, right?
Because you can literally look at the shapes of the countries and confirm that based on that shape, that it means that it's going to be this amount of miles, and then confirm that in reality. Like there's people that drive across Australia every day to transport stuff. You know, their odometers on their trucks will confirm that the distances on the globe are correct. But if you then compare it to the distances on the AE and what that would suggest, it's 2.4 times out. So the only map that has 0 distortions is the globe, and we can say it has 0 distortions because it matches reality every single time.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're telling me about like the odometer, and like if someone's driving across Australia or something, like that's AE map, which has the most distortion around the south, right? So
yeah,
especially with it, when you take a spherical coordinate system and then you put it onto a flat round surface, yeah, you have the most distortion when you go south, right? All I'm saying is that you don't have distortion with the globe in the way that you're talking about.
There is no distortion on the globe. That's the thing.
But could you let me finish though? Right? Like if I'm not saying anything that you have to worry about, you can just let me finish my point at least, right?
Okay.
Like all I'm saying is that on if you have a spherical coordinate system, then if you try to plot that onto anything other than a sphere, you're going to get a distortion there. But all I'm saying is the way the coordinate system is made on a sphere, it's made to have the least distortion on the poles, but the most distortion on the equator. I'm not talking a distortion like when you measure distances. I'm just talking about like the land masses relative to each other and everything. But plotting distances is going to be accurate because it's I'm almost done because it's a spherical coordinate system.
Yeah, but again, you're ignoring the fact that the land masses on the globe are an accurate representation of the land masses in reality.
But that's just you saying that, though.
Well, no, it's been checked. You can check the distances, right? You can remove latitude.
How? No, I'm not talking about distances. I'm talking about the shape of the land masses relative to each other. I'm not talking about like measuring a specific distance using the coordinate system.
Because you can drive across the land masses and compare the distances. Like
yeah, but you're talking. You gave me a particular example from
if
Australia,
you
right?
if you drove from the east coast of Australia to the west coast of Australia, right, and you see how many miles that is, and then you compare it to how many miles it is, that is across America, and see if it matches, and see if what the apparent distances are correct. And on the globe, it matches every time. 3,000 miles here is also 3,000 miles there. It's always going to be the same. There is no distortion.
Yeah, but you're using Australia because on the globe projection, Australia is closer to a polar point. Yeah, but on like an AE projection, but that's what I mean. Is like you'd have to prove each individual instance of this, right? Like you're kind of just telling me you can yeah, but you're telling me hold on. You're just trying to tell me that it's hold on. You're trying to tell me that it's been proven that if you drive any distance anywhere in the world, then it will exactly
everywhere. Yeah. That's how we know what roads are and how long they go. Yeah.
I feel like you keep talking over me every time I try to say something, so I'm just gonna bow out for now.
It's called a conversation back and forth, but cool. That's what you're doing. Anyway, distances are accurate 100% on the globe every single time.
I thought that was a fantastic point. A spherical coordinate system applied to anything other than a sphere will have distortion. Very well put. Godric,
which shows that there's distortions. And in matches reality.
I wanted to say, we don't think Australia is really that big.
Spherical coordinate system to fit it on to a flat map. And then you compare the distances between points on that coordinate system, and the only one they match is when that spherical coordinate system is on a sphere.
But you're comparing distances from a spherical coordinate system to a spherical coordinate system map distances and going, they match. Eureka, that was also
because
a good point.
The only way they work is when the spherical coordinate system is on a sphere, and then the distances in reality match the distances that the coordinate system says it should be. It's the only time that it matches. See,
we don't think Australia is really that big.
You don't think what?
We don't think Australia is actually that big.
Terry Reicher does.
Yeah, let's have Troubling Tribune give it a shot, and then you can go next if you want. Keep it orderly.
Thanks for having me.
I'm aware that flat earthers in general don't think that the AE map is accurate, okay, and they don't think Australia is that size. But it's my point, right? You can take any 2 points on the globe and compare the distances to what they are in reality, and you will see that the land masses match. You can drive from one side of Africa to the other and see how many miles that is, and then drive the same amount of miles on another part of the world to check. And it works. The distances always work on the globe. You want to calculate how to get from point A to point B and how far that's going to be? Do it with a spherical coordinate system using the Haversine formula, and it's going to work every single time.
Okay, so I have a couple things.
Please go ahead. Who am I talking to?
Troubling Tribune.
Hello.
Nice to formally meet you, Fight the Flat Earth. It's a pleasure.
Nice to meet you too.
So, I'm wondering, since it's my first time talking with you, I'm sure you're familiar with nautical charts and things of that nature.
Yes, I was a sailor for many years.
Okay, perfect. So, would you consider nautical charts to be accurate?
Yeah, I've used them to navigate. They're accurate every time I use them.
Okay. Are you aware of how nautical charts, or like the history of nautical charts, how they used to be made, how they're made today?
Which particular charts are you talking about? Like charts of the movement of stars, or of refractive conditions? Which nautical charts are you referring to?
That's a good question.
Nautical charts used in celestial navigation. Nautical charts used for
National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Say again, sorry?
This is from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Yeah, so what is the chart that you're talking about? What's it referring to?
I'm referring to star charts.
Right, so it's charts that are tracking the movement of stars? Is that what I want to just confirm what we're talking about here.
Charts that you use when you have no compass and you need to find your bearings, so you need to use celestial
so you mean charts that have the current position of stars relative to the Earth and the angle of elevation compared to Earth at each point. Is that what you're talking about?
Correct.
Like I could, for instance, say to you, okay, if you are at this position on Earth at this time, then the angle to X star will be whatever. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I use those a lot, and I'm aware of how the star charts were created. It's by observations of the stars over centuries.
That's one way to put it. Observations. I guess I'm kind of using the wrong one. I was more talking of like topographical charts and how we map, like basically how we map in general distances, elevations, and I'm talking about like the official.
Wait, so not charts of stars? I'm confused. Charts of stars are very different.
I misspoke earlier when I was. I
topographical charts have very little to do with like navigating at sea and stuff. I'm confused. What are you saying here? It seems that you've come along and you don't really have a coherent thought to present.
I know I have it. It's just I got confused earlier on. I've already corrected it, but you're a little slow on the take. But that's okay.
I'm the one that's slow on the take, of course, right? Yes, because it's stars but not stars. Okay.
4 times now. It was incorrect when I said nautical star charts. So we can go ahead.
Do you
and get
mean
over that.
maps rather than charts?
I'm referring to topographical maps, the way that when we have official U.S. geological surveys, when we're mapping distances and topographical features like elevation.
Right.
So
not what you said at the start at all. So we need to start the conversation again.
That's correct. That's why I said I was
let's just
incorrect.
forget everything that's just happened because you got what you were talking about completely wrong. So the question is, do I know about topographical maps and surveys and things? Yes, I do.
Okay, would you consider a topographical survey map a accurate map?
Topographical maps that show the elevation above surface are usually quite accurate, especially nowadays because they're done with like laser ranging from low orbiting satellites and stuff. So yeah.
You know how they used to be created?
Back in the day, they would create them by looking at the barometric pressure at each point they were, and referencing that to what sea level was, and then indicate that on the map with a circle area of certain colors.
You know what it was called?
Please enlighten me.
Plane table surveying?
Yeah, plane surveying is something that makes an assumption of the Earth being flat and ignores any kind of spherical excess. Yeah, and is only done over very short distances.
You can make them over short distances, but you add them all up and they're still
over long distances is called geodetic or geodetic surveying, not plane surveying. Plane surveying is done for short distances and is generally of low accuracy.
We're just going to have to disagree on that when we take the...
Well, you can disagree what you like, but that just means you're wrong.
No, it could mean that you're wrong and you just don't understand or that you refuse.
Oh, no, I definitely understand this, and I'm pretty sure everyone else in this conversation does, because this has actually been talked about a long time. Plane surveying is short distance surveying that is of low accuracy and ignores any kind of spherical excess. That's
First
just
you
what
said they
plane
were
surveying
accurate,
is.
now you're saying they're low accuracy, so which is it?
Yes, so plane surveying is low accuracy. Topographical mapping, however, using laser ranging from space, is very accurate. Modern maps of topography are not made with surveying.
Okay, how off are plane surveyors then? What source do you have for that?
With the definition of plane surveying being it makes the assumption of a flat Earth and ignores spherical excess. That's literally what plane surveying is.
It's called begging the question. Can you try again?
Sorry, telling you what plane surveying is begging the question. I don't think you understand what that means.
You simply said that it was inaccurate. I asked you to...
Yes, because the definition of plane surveying literally is of, to be of low accuracy and to make the assumption of the Earth being flat and to ignore spherical excess. That, go and ask a plane surveyor. They will tell you that's what it is.
You can easily just flip it and say that the geodetic surveyors are assuming the spherical model.
There is actually assumptions of, because you have to match your measurements to something, yes. Absolutely. But geodesic surveying is generally of high accuracy, whereas plane surveying is generally of low accuracy by necessitation, because it's over short distances and ignores any kind of spherical excess.
Just any kind of source that can show me the comparison of how accurate plane surveying is versus how accurate the topographical charts are of today, so we can actually have a productive conversation.
Well, you're the one that brought this evidence, so do you have those distinctions, or are you just assuming that they're the same?
But you just made the claim. You just made the claim, FTFE.
I got it. You're making a positive claim that it's inaccurate, so I'm asking for your source.
You're asking what the plane surveying is of low accuracy. You're asking me for a source of that.
Correct.
Okay, plane surveyors is my source. Do you want me to pull up a definition of plane surveying and post it in the chat?
By all means, give me whatever you want.
This is a point that's been gone over so much. It's just a fact that plane surveying, I mean, I'll get the definition up if you want, but plane surveying makes the assumption of the Earth being flat, ignores spherical excess, and is of low accuracy. That's just, let me get plane surveying versus geodetic surveying, and let's see what it says. So anyway, what was your point? Whilst I'm looking for something.
So was your first response just what your top Google search is? It's kind of weird.
Well, he wants me to show him the difference between plane surveying and
geodetic
surveying, so I'm going to go and use the search engine to find that.
Yeah,
yes.
bro, you just made a claim, and the support for your evidence is basically whatever you're going to pull off of Google as the first response. Is what you're saying.
Who said I was just going to use my first response? I'm going to go. Google is a search engine where you search for things. I've just been asked for something specific that I don't have right now, so I'm going to go and find it. If you would like, I will use DuckDuckGoose instead. Does that help you?
Guys, if we keep interjecting, he's going to use it as an excuse to get off topic, just let Trevine do his thing, and then we'll move on.
Dude, it's DuckDuckGo.
Yeah, that's
DuckDuckGo, whatever it's called.
You're killing me.
Sure. Mikey here knows a lot about plane surveying.
Yeah, I'm not your citation because you're refuting what I've been taught.
I'm refuting so you were taught that plane surveying is accurate, or is
approximations. Every approximation has a certain amount of error. All measurements do. We know this. But have I been taught that it was the most flawed way to survey? No.
I never said it's the most flawed way. I didn't say that.
Rely on planar survey for their property lines, their county lines, their township lines.
Okay, all right. So let me just post this
simple
article in the chat here. 1 second.
Now, while you're searching, I'll just let you know what my point was so that people don't get confused. Basically, my point, to put it simply, was that we have accurate flat maps in the form of these topographical maps that are done with plane surveying and also done with imaging, LiDAR, radar measurements, and the like. Which I would challenge you to show me the spherical measurements in any of those.
Topographical maps do not. The topographic maps are literally just a display of elevation above sea level. It doesn't take into account the curvature of the Earth. It's literally just saying, right, at this point, you're going to be X distance above the sea. At this point, you're going to be X distance above the sea. That's all topographical maps are showing you. But if you actually look at like the shapes of the land masses and everything, the only accurate map of the shape of the land masses is a globe.
So I would challenge that if we took all the topographical maps that are done with plane surveying and lined them up. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to do this personally.
Plane surveying makes the assumption that the Earth is flat and ignores spherical excess. Because it literally ignores the curvature of the Earth, it doesn't take any of that into account. And it's literally just showing, point A, here, it's X meters above sea level. At point B here, it's X meters above sea level. That's all a topographical map is showing. It's not designed to show you if the Earth is flat or curved. So I'm just reading something here from civilengineeringrealities.com, an engineering website, and it's talking about the differences between plane and geodetic surveying, and there's a table. Plane surveying versus geodetic surveying. So 1, plane surveying, the Earth's surface is considered as a plane surface. Geodetic surveying, the Earth's surface is considered as a curved surface. Plane surveying, survey accuracy is low. Geodetic surveying, survey accuracy is high. Plane surveying uses normal instruments like chain, measuring tape, theodolite, etc. Geodetic surveying uses more precise instruments and modern technology like GPS. Plane surveying carried out for a small area of less than 250 kilometers. Geodetic surveying carried out for an area of more than 250 kilometers. Plane surveying, the triangle formed by any 3 points is considered as a plane. Geodetic surveying, the triangle formed by any 3 points is considered spherical. Plane surveying, line joining any 2 stations is considered to be straight. Geodetic surveying, the line joining any station is considered as spherical. Let me finish. Nearly there. Calm down. Plane surveying, the curvature of the Earth is ignored. That's part of plane surveying. However, geodetic surveying says the curvature of the Earth is taken into account. They don't ignore it. If it's there, they take it into account. So if you are referencing plane surveying, I'm still talking. If you are referencing plane surveying, you are literally just referencing something that just ignores the curvature of the Earth if it's there.
It's not if it's there. It's all measurements are correlated
Come on,
to
man.
it.
Like, he was trying to get in the whole time. Like, poor guy.
My goodness. Yeah,
Is it a one? Is it a 1v1?
Before we go off on a ton of different
Mike,
points,
let the guy finish.
That's literally a lawyer court tactic where you just give a whole bunch of cases and a whole bunch of examples and hope to overwhelm the opponent with the case.
Yeah, given evidence, that's a good thing to do. Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
You can give one at a time, and then we can assess the actual accuracy of the evidence given.
I was reading the list to you.
I know you're reading a list, but only one part of that list actually mattered.
We can go back to it at any time. That's absolutely fine. I've no problem going over each bit. But I was just reading the table to you.
I let you ramble off for quite a bit.
Yeah.
I know that this is your thing, but come on now.
Yeah, I was just reading the table to you. Okay, so please calm down.
I'm just going to make my point, and then I'm going to let you go. So you said in the measurement part that the plane surveying is inaccurate and that it uses measurements like
I didn't
measuring
say
tape,
inaccurate.
Light. That's what the list said. I'm literally just reading back what the list said, that it was inaccurate.
Survey accuracy is low. That's what it says.
Accuracy is low. Sure, I'll use the exact wording. Accuracy is low. That it uses measuring tape and theodolite measurements, and that for geodetic surveying, the accuracy is high. But it only listed one measuring tool, which was the GPS. Is there any other measuring tools that we can use?
It uses more precise instruments and modern technology like GPS.
What else do they use?
I'm not sure the exact tools involved. I would have to research and find that out for you. But they use modern technology like the GPS.
You basically are just having the faith in the data. Oh, you haven't actually.
Faith. Data is what data is. Do you disagree that GPS is modern technology?
I disagree that GPS means that we live on a ball.
I didn't say that. I said, do you disagree that GPS is modern technology?
That's modern.
Well, there we go then. That's all it says there. That it uses more precise instruments and modern technology, like GPS, which is a precise and modern technology.
When I'm going about trying to verify, like if I was to verify a geodetic survey measurements for myself, curvature and all, how would I go about doing that?
Using the methods of geodetic surveyors, I imagine.
That is not even a response.
Well, what else do you want me to say? Go and make up what you're doing? If you want to check the measurements that geodetic surveyors have measured, you would need to go and use geodetic surveying methods to check their measurements. Of course that's an answer.
So when I actually spoke to the surveyor...
How do I confirm geodetic surveying is accurate? Go do some geodetic surveying.
Yeah, learn how to do geodetic surveying and go and do it to check.
But you don't even know how to do
You see, like, this guy
I'm not a geodetic surveyor, so
thing.
no, I
Use
don't
it as
know
an
exactly how to
extraction.
do
Come on,
geodetic
Noah.
surveying. That's why I'm referencing the experts and the people that do geodetic surveying.
So you're talking out your ass.
I'm sorry, is anyone here a geodetic surveyor? Is the person I'm talking to right now a geodetic surveyor? No, or is it two people having a conversation about geodetic surveying? That's how conversations work. Not everybody is an expert in everything. You can still discuss those things. I'm sorry that the basics of human conversations and interaction elude you so hard.
Yeah, you're talking out your ass and you think it's a proof.
I never said anything was a proof. I am just responding to the person that's asking me questions. Nice gaslighting.
You're literally
Well
making claim. You're literally making claims about geodetic surveying and how accurate it is, but you have fucking no idea about it. That's talking out your ass.
I'm showing you that geodetic surveying uses accurate instrumentation, like GPS. Something that uses more accurate instrumentation is
But
going
you
to
can't
make
even
more
tell us
accurate
what that
measurements.
is. You can't even tell us what instrumentation that is.
GPS.
You're literally reading off the first result on Google that you get, bro.
Is
You're talking out your
GPS,
ass on
GPS
this
not
fucking
something that
subject.
I just mentioned? I'm sorry that I don't know all the other
It
instrumentation.
didn't mention
Again,
the
I am
actual
not a
method,
geodetic
bro.
surveyor. I can refer people to the information
Why
so
are
they can
you
look it up
fucking
themselves.
talking about it?
But well, because I know
Why are
for
you coming
the
and trying
things
to
that I
present
do
like
know,
some expert on
the
this
things
thing
that I
you have
do
no
know is
idea
that there's a
about?
difference between plane surveying and geodetic surveying, and plane surveying ignores the curvature of the Earth.
But you
Does
don't
not take
actually
it into
know.
account.
You don't actually know. You
I
don't
do
actually
because
know,
I've
though.
spoken to surveyors
No,
and
you're
done
making
research
you're
about
making
it.
claims. You're making claims, and then when we ask you for
I've
specifics
done
on the
research
claims that
about
you're
it.
giving
I've
and for support on the claims that you're giving, you fully admit you don't know what you're talking about, and then you pull shit out of your
I
ass.
said that I don't know everything about geodetic surveying, and I don't know all the instrumentation that they use. I'm sorry, again, I am not a geodetic surveyor. I only have information available to me, and the information
And
available
you shouldn't
to me,
be talking about it like
the
you're the
information
expert.
available to me says that plane surveying is of low accuracy and ignores the curvature of the Earth. That is the information that I have found in response to the thing that the person is saying to me. This is how conversations work. Again, I am very sorry that the basics of human interaction elude you.
Yeah, so
What about
basically you have absolutely jack tits squat. Basically, you're saying, "Oh, this is the truth," because wait, I have no support for what I'm claiming.
If I may, I've actually had time to educate myself a little bit more on geodetic surveying, just to kind of give you a little bit more input, since you didn't know too much about it. Fight the Flat Earth.
I know quite a lot. I just don't know. I don't know the exact instrumentation that's used. That is the high modern. I don't know.
You don't
names
know
of the
shit,
things.
dude.
I know quite
Fine.
a lot.
I did mention it earlier, just to kind of see who was paying attention, but I guess that you weren't. But that's okay. Geodetic methods. The first one, of course, like you said, is going to be GPS. So we're going to rely on the augmented globe positioning system to give us the measurements there, and then go from there. Who's going to go with the
accurate
measurements?
system? Yeah, that accurately gives you distances that
Sure, we
and
can say
directions around the
that.
world.
Again, I'm just making a point of like the verifiability of it, like who's going with measuring tape to actually go and verify the distance and all the what the GPS is telling them. Just to throw that out there, as it's not a very good proof of a
You can
positive
check it
claim.
yourself if you like. If you doubt it, then it's your responsibility to go and check it. No one has to give you proof of the proof.
I love burden shifting.
No, it's not burden shifting. If we give you evidence and you don't like the evidence, it's your responsibility to go and check if that evidence is correct.
You get pretty uncomfortable, I can see, of just me laying out the basics.
I'm responding to things you're saying. That's how conversations work. It's called a back and forward. Again, I am very sorry that for all of you, the basics of human communication elude you.
Yeah, you've given
Alright,
claims.
well, let's
You've given
interrupt
claims
everyone.
What about these allegations you're a meth head?
Allegations that I'm a meth head. Allegations are lovely. I've never taken meth in my life.
You know, I wouldn't judge you. I mean, I'm more interested in what you say rather than the substance you may be addicted to. I'm more interested in whether you can present logic. In fact, the speed might help you increase your better argument.
Is that wait?
We're also
is
using something called.
I thought you said meth. Is speed the same thing? I honestly don't.
It is the same thing. Is a lot of mechanics use it, and you might maybe it'll help you figure out your model.
And here's the thing: that rumor about me having meth. I started it to see how many flat earthers would take it. So
I was just joking there. I hope you don't do that.
By me being honest, asking about it, is that me taking it or is that me being honest about something?
Yeah. This is the only thing that I put in my body that is really illegal.
I don't want to know, man.
Cannabis.
What you put in your body
magic plant.
Before.
I just think the flat earthers are really going to appreciate this little tidbit of information. So, on the geodetic surveying, the other tools they use are something called INSAR, which literally stands for Interferometric Synthetic Aperture Radar. Okay, and that's something that measures ground deformation using 2 or more synthetic aperture radar images. And then there's something called GRACE, Gravity Recovery and Climate Experiment Follow-Up Mission. They're basically using a satellite out in the orbit of Earth.
Oh yeah, no, I know about that. I was actually going to be talking about measurements of Earth's radius using satellites and stuff. So
other than that, they measure off of sea level, just like plane surveying. Go figure.
They what, sorry?
And other than that, they use.
Sorry, I missed what you said there about sea level. Could you repeat that?
Altimetry, ice, and sea level.
Yeah. What
satellite altimetry measures the distance between the satellite and the target on Earth. Usually done with the radar altimetry system, which sends a radar pulse to the Earth's surface and then measures the time it takes to yada yada yada.
Yeah. So do you know the 5 corrections that are used for all those things? Because I was actually when you're talking about geodetic surveying in general, I don't go into I don't think about satellite measurements and stuff. But obviously, that was one of the points I wanted to talk about today. And obviously, it's very important to have the correct corrections, in place to deal with things. Do you know what corrections are used for those instruments?
Fire away.
So, like ionospheric delay correction, transphobic delay correction, relativistic correction, Earth rotation correction, satellite and receiver clock correction, things like that, and how they're applied.
I mean, I don't know all the corrections, but I assume you're going to educate.
I mean, all those corrections are applied to, especially the InSAR measurements you were talking about. They're all from satellites that are traveling at extremely high velocities, so you obviously have to apply relativistic corrections, otherwise you're going to have problems there. The fact that it's going through the ionosphere, you have to, that's a layer of the Earth's atmosphere that can delay signals depending on the current conditions in the ionosphere. So, they have mathematical models to use for correcting on that based on conditions and things like that. So, they're all very, very accurate and confirm that the Earth's radius is what it is. So, thanks for bringing those up.
So I'm glad that you like them. My point being with all these is that every single one of these that I just mentioned all rely on methods that cannot be verified terrestrially. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, you mean because they're done from space?
Correct.
Well, the receiving stations are terrestrial, and they definitely confirm what's going on.
Receiving stations that just take data?
Yeah, they're terrestrial, right? They're as in on Earth.
Data can come from anywhere.
Yeah, but the receiving stations are terrestrial on Earth, yes?
Sure.
Yeah, they just receive a signal, that's his point.
And you can triangulate where those signals come from, correct?
Not always, no.
If there's data coming in from a receiver, you can triangulate where that signal's coming from.
And how would you do that?
You see where the data's coming from at 2 different positions. Use parallax and stuff like that. Use some basic trigonometry. Triangulating the position of things in the sky is really not that complicated. It's kind of like high school level trigonometry at the most.
Yeah, but you're just guessing where it's coming from.
Well, no, you can see how long the signal takes to get you and then send back and stuff. And you can use the known speed of light and how far it's had to travel. The speed that is going over different positions. You can take 2 receiving stations. Wait, I'm still describing. You can take 2 receiving stations at a certain distance apart, looking at the same data source coming from one point, and you use basic parallax and trigonometry to and the known speed of light to calculate where it's coming from. No guessing involved, just pure maths.
So what device is measuring this speed of the signal?
What device is measuring the speed of the signal?
Yeah, where is it?
Clocks on receiving station versus clocks on the satellites. You can tell how long a signal takes to go from A to B and back from B to A by what the signal is. You put out a signal and then you'll get a much weaker signal back. And that shows how long the signal's taken to go from point A to B and B to A. These laser ranging experiments, it's easy.
I mean, when it comes to these receivers that you're claiming that are we have, obviously they're going to be terrestrial if they even are a thing, which I'm assuming that they are because they got to have.
Of course
some
they are.
kind
Yes,
of thing.
the receiving stations are most definitely a thing.
Are they obviously not something civilians use, right? It's something that you have to have.
No, civilians use receiving stations. In fact, their majority are manned by civilians. The military doesn't operate GPS.
Wait, the military doesn't operate GPS?
No, they're not the ones that are like in. It's a civilian system that everyone has access to. It's not like limited to just the military using it. Anyone can receive
military
data from
controls
GPS.
The military definitely operates GPS.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a closed code. It's closed code.
But
GPS.
anybody
You
can
cannot
access the GPS. If you've got a receiver, like in my phone in my hand, this is a GPS receiver. I'm a civilian. I can use GPS. It's not just for the military. It is.
Yeah, you can
right?
access a service that the military provides for you. Correct.
Yeah, you can also track where GPS satellites are and try and check that the signal's coming.
I mean, you
from a
can
certain
imagine
place.
you do.
Well, no, you absolutely can. Astronomy Live.
Yeah, you can imagine you do.
No, again, you actually can. Astronomy Live on Twitter does it all the time and does it live. Actually.
Can we actually let Tribune finish a statement? That'd be sweet.
If he answered it, then that's awesome. Maybe I just didn't know.
Sorry,
I was under the impression. I made the statement cheekily that there's no way that you can triangulate the data coming to your phone, to your cell phone right now. But if you say that it can be done,
if you get 2 points on Earth that are receiving data from the same source, you could triangulate where that data is coming from. You can also there's many apps you can use to track the positions of satellite to check what your data would say as well. Like when Red's Enemy and Astronomy Live used just their cameras and telescope and parallax to calculate the position, height, speed, and size of the ISS. Anyway, you give me 1 sec, guys. I really need to use the toilets. I'll be back in just 2 minutes. Okay. So just talk amongst yourself.
Hey, I want to cover something. In America, the DoD.
Again, I'm literally about to go to the toilet.
He just said he's going to step away.
Yeah, I was trying to fill in, and then he's just going to interrupt me. I hate long goodbyes. Go take your shit, dude, so I can talk. I can hear. I don't need instructions. The Department of Defense owns Navstar in America. Your GPS came from the military.
100%.
Yes, that's what I said earlier.
Didn't they also have the back end, like so where you couldn't see it, or I can't remember what the term is. I'm so computer.
Hey, shut up! The guy can't take a
Yo,
shit.
did you?
You can't focus when you got to talk.
So the Navy.
Back in Desert Storm or some shit, they changed the GPS so that when the enemies were trying to use it for their artillery, they would miss. Y'all know about that? Like, they literally changed the fucking output. Yeah. So, like, literally, they can...
Didn't they change the whole GPS system in the Gulf War as well? I thought.
Yeah, like, basically, over the Middle East or whatever, over that section of land or whatever, they basically shifted it over by some constant. And so, basically, when they would get the signal on their side, they would put that constant back in. But I think it was the Iraqis didn't have that constant. So all of their artillery was missing because they were basing it all on GPS. And unbeknownst to them, the GPS signal was changed. So, like, yeah, I just thought that would be useful for you guys to know about.
Well, for our buddy Troubling Tribune here, here's his website, troublingtribune.com, if you guys want to check him out. I think he's really cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was top
Tribune's
secret.
a great developer.
Yeah, shout out Trouble and Tribune, dude. Good to have you here.
Yeah, shout out to Trouble Tribune.
Fellow Floridian.
Okay, right. What's next? Where are we? Oh, fucking hell. 1:30 already. Who knew?
He's back.
I've been back for a while.
All right. Tribune, are you good? You want to keep going? You want to hand it off?
Hey guys, you want to hear a funny story while we're all chatting? I'm dating a first.
Will you stop letting Nathan Thompson in here, please?
You want to hit this?
Yeah, please pass it. Puff, puff, pass.
So,
wait, what are we talking about?
I couldn't hear you, Tribune.
Nathan isn't really here.
I was talking about how they changed the GPS signal back in the Gulf War.
How they
so that
changed
the enemy was getting inaccurate readings and missing all their artillery shot.
That's cool. If they did that, I have no idea about that.
Yeah, the first GPS systems came from from the DoD, Department of Defense, and it was Lawrence ground system.
Also,
certainly not with
which
GPS.
is why no one really knows what's going on in the South, because you just use GPS to travel. So yeah, you could verify your
What do you
distance.
mean no one knows what's going on in the South? What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
It just
They use
proves that
GPS
it
to get
be
around.
manipulated.
Just because it
You don't-
was manipulated once doesn't mean that it always is. And again, if it was manipulated and then they had inaccurate data and couldn't do what they did, but then we have accurate data and then it works, kind of.
Yeah, it
you know, shows
sucks
it's
when
not
you
being
go through the
manipulated.
mountain.
Well, then, so you would travel from Santiago, Chile to Australia just by using your, you know how to travel by the stars, apparently. So you would just go with that? You wouldn't use your GPS at all?
If my GPS wasn't working, I could do it with just the stars. But every naval ship I was on had very large GPS radars pointing directly at the sky.
Exactly my point. Yeah. So you use GPS. You never even really verified nothing. You just verified
that was when I was
with
in the Navy. When I was like doing sailing, sailboat sailing and stuff before, I was literally doing celestial navigation. We didn't, we had GPS and stuff for emergencies, but we were there training to navigate by the stars. So that's something I was literally trained to do. I've got, 1,000 hours maybe of practical hands-on experience using a sextant in celestial navigation.
And then how'd you keep track? Like a car has an odometer. How are you keeping track of your nautical miles?
By mapping out how far you go based on your position.
What, did you take your speed and then your distance?
Yeah.
You can average that time over distance. Yeah.
Yeah, like you could say, right, if you knew that at point A on Earth, the angle to a certain star is like 20 degrees, right? And then you knew at point B on Earth, the angle to that same star was 18 degrees, right? You could see, all right, so now I've been at this point where it's 20 degrees and it's point where it's 18 degrees and it's taken me X amount of time to get there. So then you can just do some basic calculations to figure out how fast you went. You don't have odometers.
You know how
on ships
fast
like
you went.
You said you've been on Navy ships where their dishes point straight towards the sky. I've never been on it. I've been on naval ships, but never one that had it pointing straight at the stars, straight up.
I know for a fact
never
that
won.
HMS Westminster dish
I'll show
on the
you
front
images.
of the bridge specifically pointed directly up because I was once out on the front of the bridge cleaning the window during a storm, and the satellite dish is just there. It
depends on what sector you're in too.
Well, it never really changed position, to be honest. Like, and
on
planes
our
have
naval
satellite receivers pointing
destroyers.
straight up.
Yeah, on our naval destroyers, they do. They move on their own. They adjust on their own. They're computerized. And they generally point towards the horizon. I'm talking all satellite dishes on the tower.
Yeah, no, the GPS ones are kind of fixed position receivers. They don't adjust. You're talking about like radar receivers and stuff, which would generally point towards the horizon. But
no,
GPS
if your
receivers,
position changes and that position is fixed.
Yeah, but the GPS receivers.
How can a satellite be a fixed position though? That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't just look at one satellite. GPS uses a network of satellites to see its position. So because there's so many of them there, the GPS receiver pointing straight up is always going to have 2, 3, 4 satellites in its range to see, right? On the receiving station, it'll show you. It can see however many satellites. So it then uses the fact that it knows where the satellites are relative to each other to calculate its own position. But then it has to obviously take into account relativistic effects and everything, and that's quite a large mathematical correction that has to be involved. But you don't need to.
Yeah, I know. My cousin is a Navy admiral.
GPS. Yeah.
I'm from a military family. My cousin's a naval admiral. He adjusted satellites in space and kept track of where they were.
He
worked for Harp Industries.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Satellites in space are definitely a thing.
Well, it's just staring at a screen all day. At least he's honest. He couldn't verify anything. He just stares at a computer screen all day.
That's cool, but there is ways of verifying it.
Hey, I gotta tell you,
I've heard that.
I have a similar experience. I was in the infantry, right? And in Iraq, what happened was they at the Tactical Operations Center.
Thank you for your service. Before you continue, thank you very much for your service.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome, American #1.
hold on. We're from a different country. We actually didn't serve you, so that's really not required.
I say that anyone who is part of our defense force that is an ally, I will thank them for their service for what they did for. It's not just my freedom. He's fighting for the freedom of the world. So I will say thank you for your service, even if he was an American, because I mean it.
I gotta share this experience. You see, I was really good on the radio for whatever reason when the battalion commander came by. So they obviously they sent me to the battalion headquarters. I mean, I was at the company doing a shift, whatever. Anyway, so there I was for a couple weeks at the tactical operations at the battalion fob, right? And so they gave me there's tough books and screens and all that, and on this one tough book, they got maps and stuff. Well, they had this they call it a satellite lens, is what they called it. So we were able to zoom in on it's very close. You could zoom in at very high detail, very high detail. Well, one day it stopped working. And so at the same, right when it stopped working, we had to go do a equipment retrieval. They told me this was a satellite lens, but a space satellite. That the Air Force, they said the Air Force linked us to a space satellite. Well, when the feed stopped working, suddenly we had a mission to go recover a drone that fell. Anyway, so what a coincidence, eh?
Okay, I mean, I don't know the specifics. I do know that a lot of drones in active war areas are actually used as boosters for satellite signals and other signals as well. And then you have to do extra calculations to take in the position of the drones and stuff. Drones are very versatile and a major part of warfare now. They act as many things, including signal boosters, navigation
reflectors.
Aids, reflectors.
We can set up our own system with balloons.
I'll take that as fair enough. I just thought it was a rather interesting coincidence.
It is interesting.
Maybe it was a bandwidth. What do you call there were no clouds, by the way, but maybe it was a bandwidth bounce repeater thing. But there were no clouds. Nothing was obstructing the lens whatever, and it's confusing to me that I never saw anything blocking my vision when the so-called satellite lens. It makes more sense to me that it was merely a drone.
Yeah, can I ask you a question? You're a combat veteran, Army soldier, right?
Yes, sir.
Would you accept anything over boots on the ground verification? Would there be any other better type? Would you quantify it, or would you just go out and actually verify it? Boots on the ground.
You talking about the drone or
anything?
Oh.
Any info?
You have a great point. If I gotta see it, I gotta see it for myself. Yeah.
It's not always the case in the military, though, is it, Michael? You can't always have guaranteed boots on the ground verification. Especially in a theater of war,
it depends on what you want to do.
The best available information, right? And
your response was fair enough.
Yeah. So I'll put it this way. We might have to use a little bit of questionable or faulty information to put the boots on the ground, but the boots will still hit the ground, brother. And we will go in and verify.
Yeah, but usually the verification might be the final point. The verification might be, okay, we've had all this intel, now let's get the boots in to finish the job, and that will be the verification, right?
Intel is never perfect. The soldier's got to be.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. It's Chinese whispers, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
That's what I learned in the military and in the places that I went, is that information, unless you're getting it like direct from a source, it's a case of Chinese whispers.
It's all
There's going to be things that have changed and constant. That's why multiple lines of information and are very important in the military, and that's also why the people that make the big decisions get paid the big bucks. Because it's on their head, right?
And it's also why recon is has one of the highest kill and death counts. Because they're
great
going in
where drones are coming in, right? Because I mean, I know this is on Earth, but drones are, especially in what's happening in Ukraine, drones are allowing the recon to happen without that loss of life that's usually attached to it, which saves resources for other things. Which is actually
drones are great in combat situation, even urban combat. Yeah,
but they're also a bit scary, right? And so. AI is advancing extremely fast, right? Drone, the technology, millimeter precision and stuff. So what's stopping you putting some AI on a drone and some drones on that gun, and basically the AI saying to that drone, go and clear that building of human lives? And that kind of shit actually scares me, because it's just got a program.
It should.
Like, go and kill. And
it should, because then...
Yeah.
Then they want to put those needle dart things on like twinkler dart things,
So listen, in that situation, the rich people of the world no longer need anybody other than the people to run their manufacturing plants.
Yeah. And my God,
and our children that we send to war, they wouldn't need them no more.
Did any of you see the recent Tesla thing? And he was showing his Tesla bots that they're doing, but they showed the video of the Tesla bots building themselves. And I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I bow down to my robot overlord.
Yeah, all I want to know is, can them bots withstand the EMP blast? They're still bots.
I think that would be the most effective way to stop a robot uprising, right?
You can jam their signals.
Yeah, well,
unless they've just got pre-programmed and they don't need the signals.
I don't know what you did. You looked at the screen, but my boots hit ground. So
there was a story going around last. Yeah, there was a story going around last week or the week before about four people getting killed by AI robots in some Japanese factory. It sounded like complete BS to me.
Oh yeah, the drone just launched. It says target acquired. Yeah, that sucked.
It's when they're able to do it without human interaction, right? And it's at that point the AI is making the decision to take a human life, right?
So I think it got out of hand the day we invented grenade drones,
That violates the laws of robotics. I think, isn't it generally accepted that those are pretty much what all robots should follow generally?
Well, no, there's a lot of flaws in Isaac Asimov's rules of robotics, to be honest. But and again, this is
like
totally a flat Earth conversation. But it's like taking.
Yeah, but when you say a lot of problems, I gotta ask.
Well, those three laws are very restrictive, and it gives the robot the right to defend itself as long as it doesn't harm humans, but it doesn't say anything about harming like human infrastructure and things like that. So there's ways that robots could get around that limited wording and stuff, right?
Yeah, but, you won't plow no fields today, guy, or we're gonna blow you up. Move
exactly.
On.
But take Tesla AI for their self-driving cars. What if it's in a situation where it's gonna hit someone, but it's got a choice between hitting a granny or hitting a 20-year-old person? How does the harm?
But you got to remember, the robot defending itself is still subservient to doing what humans say. So if the human says don't damage any infrastructure, then it can't do that. Still, even at the detriment of its own existence.
Yeah, but you would have to expand the laws of robotics for that to be the case, because the laws of robotics as
no, that's how it's written.
They're very
how Isaac Asimov wrote them. The law that says the robot has to do exactly what a human says is above the one that it can defend itself. So it can only defend itself unless the human told it to do something otherwise than what it would have to do.
But remember, it's also, if a human tells it to do something that will cause its own harm, it can disobey that command.
No, it can't. That's the thing. The law to do what the human says is above the law to protect itself.
All right. Okay.
But is that a real thing now?
No, that's from fiction.
I think it's from the movies, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the movie iRobot, and that was based on it. But,
so it's not a real thing.
No. We're kind of getting into sci-fi talk here, which is a bit different.
Yeah.
Back to Flat Earth. Get him.
So I can't find out through a method. I'm a bit disappointed now I found out you're not.
So an EMP blast would only spread out on a flat local Earth. What's up?
An EMP blast on Earth would be limited. You're right. If the Earth was flat, it would propagate as it goes out. Obviously it would have the squared law, as it reduces.
Well, at ground level, it's kind of topography dictates all that.
Yeah.
If we're in a city, I got to blow up every building for a ping to go uninterrupted for hundreds of miles. If you're in the forest, same thing. Mountain range, all that.
So it does seem like we've got to the end of the flat Earth discussion tonight, unless anyone else has anything else they would like to bring up.
Anyone?
Shane, I haven't really looked into this, but just briefly, you've been saying stuff about how Walter Bisland's helped you recently. I haven't really paid attention to that. I've had shit going on.
Thank you, Walter. Yeah.
What's this all about? What has Walter done that's made you so excited?
I particularly love his flat Earth dome model with the moving stars. It helps me understand and explain how stars work on flat Earth to people. It's nice.
Earth
it's a wonderful
model.
Yeah, that's what he calls it, right? The flat Earth dome model.
Okay, I'll have to look into that. Do you think we could have a discussion about that at some point after I've looked into it?
Yeah, we had a half a discussion last week, and I used things like the azimuthal grid from Stellarium, which, I would say Walter Bisland made a smaller model of that to move it around the flat Earth map to show you exactly how stars will work. Yeah, definitely check it out. A lot of people hate it, and they like to just repeat the thing in the FAQ where he likes to dictate how he made the bendy light connect to the 2D model on his ceiling with the fake stars. But
right, so he's using
I'm sure you can do better.
Stuff. Yeah, I'll have to.
I'm sure you can come up with a better one. Yeah.
But, I've had a really hard week, and I'm absolutely shattered. So I think I'm going to call it here for tonight, guys. And I want to once again thank this Discord server for allowing me to come here and argue with you. And tonight's been kind of a pleasant one, to be honest. It's been not too hostile of a chat, which I've probably.
Oh, now hold on, we can change that for you.
Smurf.
All right, then fuck you, cunts, all of you. I hate all you dickheads. You're so stupid.
So next week we'll start off with how stars prove the flat Earth.
Yeah.
Sycophants.
Also,
Shane.
FTFE, you behaved today, so thank you for behaving.
That's Mr. Sir. Right proper cunt to you.
Yeah, okay, sorry, Mr. Cunt. I apologize. Shane, mission for you. Dave, Professor Dave says he's willing anytime that you can arrange a date for what we discussed.
He's a lying shitbag. What would we want to talk to him for?
So, this would be nice.
Everyone hates him, but
yeah, man, I'll punch him in the throat if I saw him in the real world.
I just got tired of arguing with that guy in the comments.
All right, I heard you. I'll try to make
videos.
So if you could maybe get back to me with a few dates when everyone will be free, and I'll take it to Dave and see what he says. But he's willing to do it this month or next, whatever's good for you guys.
All right,
I'm ready. Shit, I'm ready whenever.
You're
Dave
like friends with him?
Professor Dave, yeah, good bud of mine.
Wow.
Telling me the way this works is I'm friends with Witsit and he's friends with Dave, and we're trying to arrange it, right?
Yeah.
Listen, he can come hang out though if he wants to,
No, we can't. Fuck that guy. I'm just kidding.
Fuck that, man. I'd love to talk to David.
Yeah, well, I think he's not going to hang out because he wouldn't want to be demolished by the flat earthers. He specifically avoided doing
lying piece of shit. That's why.
I think he specifically avoided it.
I'd be happy in a private room with no live streams going, just conversating with that guy.
I mean, regardless of what you think about his flat Earth opinions, if you look at what he does in general, he is a fucking smart guy, all right? Let's ignore what he says about the shape of the Earth and physics and stuff, because that's even not his
speciality,
he knows a lot about
right? James Bond doesn't make him an expert on everything, is it?
No. I agree. He's not an expert on everything, but he has a really good knack for explaining things. But when you look at especially the stuff that he's an expert in, like biology and that, he is a smart guy. And regardless of his opinion on the flat Earth, there is other areas of what he does that I think everyone can agree on that he's knowledgeable and.
Fuck off! Am I going to agree with that?
He's just reading the script. He admits to having script writers.
For certain things, I mean, I wrote pretty much everything for him for his Derp debate.
Like I said, the hate is strong for him in this community. I get it, guys.
The difference is, you just have a cup of concrete, eh?
Well, I think the engagement between him and Witsit will be good for the community, so I will try my best to facilitate.
It will be good for everyone.
I think so too, but for different reasons than you, I think. Okay.
I've been waiting longer than Witsit.
Thank you very much, and I will see you next week. Try and come next week with a bit of a presentation or something so we can have a bit more of a focused discussion, okay?
Yeah, we can do star shows. I already did a couple of
doing
presentations.
our fucking
It'll be
survey.
fun.
Do one, man. 2 next week. Right,
See you later, guys.
we'll
Bye.
call you.
Bye.
Oh, there we go, guys. The usual denial. I especially enjoyed the part where the guy came with evidence, didn't know what the evidence was he was talking about, and then changed his mind about the evidence halfway through. That was pretty funny. Oh, man. Wow. Nearly 700 were watching at one point. That's pretty awesome. As always, the support that you guys give me is absolutely insane. I can't thank you enough. Going to have a couple of videos in the next couple of days explaining a few things that have been going on. The state of my mental health and stuff has been pretty bad with things going on. And I think I owe you guys an explanation of some things, so I'll be doing that as well as working on the videos that I'm trying to get out. But what I'm dealing with is kind of put everything that I was doing on the back burner, video-wise, but that will be coming. The support you guys give me is insane, and whenever I'm feeling down, I come and look at my community and the comments and stuff, and it makes me feel so much happier. So once again, thank you for the massive levels of support you guys have given me. Super chats. Icy Spin for $4.99 for Cruel and Unusual Punishment Fund. Yeah, I'm definitely a recipient of that. Albius, $5 says, Craig, what is your email? Please need to send you a crepuscular picture. Thanks. FightTheFlatEarth@gmail.com. String News 1 for $2 says, Austin's poor name is Gamma Ray. Also, Austin, let's have a look at the poll. I'm going to end the poll. Top left winner will be 600 votes. 55% for Gamma Witless and 44% for Failzoid. That doesn't make 100%, Google. It's a good job, but I agree. It's going to be Witsit. Oh, just need to do something a sec. I need to delete this message. Why can't I delete that? Alright. And we've got a dumbass flat earther for $2. Not reading what you said because you're an idiot. Nev Palpatine, the young cousin of Emperor Palpatine, for $10 says, Hey Craig, sorry, I'm an American. Tip for saving money: whenever your family is hungry and wants food, just say nuh-uh. It works for the flat earthers. You try saying nuh-uh to a 14-year-old boy and a 10-year-old girl when they want food. Paid National Shield, how'd you do this about brain damage? Who says I don't have brain damage? It's a weird, wonderful life for £5 says, when will Flerfs learn refraction exist regardless of the shape of the Earth? Yeah. We don't live in a sheet of glass. There is refraction when we're looking through the atmosphere. End of story. Drew P. Wiener, 25 months, that's more than twice around the sun, been a member, says, can't we just have a joint top left? They're both thick as fuck. They are, and I'm probably going to have a joint during top left. Another flat earth for £2. Fuck you, not having your message read out. Moosey for $10. Thank you very much. Debates with Flerfs are like office hours from hell for your relief fund. Thank you, I need it. Another message from the dumbass flat earther with, I'm not reading it out, but thank you for your money. Please keep sending me your money. Bill Tentley for $5 says, thank you for fighting the Flerf. These idiots drove me to relearn maths. Yeah. That's one of the reasons I love what I'm doing, is because I actually encourage people to go back to school and stuff, which is brilliant. Corey Clark, $20. Thank you very much, buddy. Here's beer money. I know that's not enough to combat these clowns level of stupid, but it's a start. Yes, it is, and I appreciate it. Tory regime, 1 month, just for a member, and then says, has anyone in this Discord got a measurement of the flatness of water? No, they don't do that. They just go, well, there's waves, you can't... Stringer News 1, you've been a member for 36 months. Thank you very much, my friend. Craig, you're doing a great public service given the time of day to these incels. I hope that you get knighthood soon. Hugs and kisses. None for the incels. Your pals at NASA. Thank you, NASA, but thank you, Stringer News 1, for everything you've done. Corey Clark became a new member. Welcome to Fighters. Woo! Yeah! That's my Charlie impression. Stringer News 1 for $2 says, did you wash up, Greg, when I went to the toilet? Who wants to wash their hands? Yes, of course I did. It's a Weird Wonderful Life for £5. Thank you very much. Says, Craig, you missed it while you went for your wee. Best Flat Earth evidence. We're all Flerfs now. Oh, God damn it. Conal Silverfur for $5 says, his father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate was an admiral, therefore the Earth equals flat. Yeah. GPS dishes point straight up. They don't move. Conal Silverfur for $5 says, Professor Dave, I'm ready for a debate, Shane. Shane, I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. They're going to regret it. Well, Witsit will, that's for sure. And Henrik Danielson for 50 secs. Thank you very much. You don't owe us anything, mate. You already delivered on that. Thank you for your kind words and your support. I owe you guys content. I do. Because the support you give me, it allows me to live an amazing life. And I can never say thank you for that. So I do owe you stuff, and I will, for the next 10 years, provide you with Flerf-busting entertainment. Maybe even more than 10 years. But I guarantee until at least 2033, I'll be doing just this for you. Because you're awesome. In fact, you're so awesome that you get to listen to a terrible rap song that we made. The Copper in Quarter for $2 Canadian says, no Flat Earth evidence. Debate over.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now.
Good morning. These words come with a storm warning. Better batten down the hatches, grab some matches and brace yourself for a long day of misery. YouTube has given me the power to reach up into the sky and show you all that we live on the ball. I bring you science that's comprehensible. Your view is indefensible. You're reprehensible. When I was young, I never thought I would be here to see this. A pile of random nonsense dressed up as bullshit. Your ignorance will be the death of us all, like running head first full speed into a wall. You could always read a book, buy a telescope, set it up and take a photo of the moon, or just be a buffoon. I send you in a balloon up to the stratosphere in page 3.
You're a few fries short of a happy meal. You're dumber than a box of hair. The wheel's spinning but the hamster's dead, and you're as smart as bait. You forgot to pay your brain bill. You're missing a few buttons on the remote control. 24 cents short of a quarter. You're surfing in Nebraska. You're as bright as Alaska in December, and you fell out of your family tree. You don't have all the cornflakes in one box. You got an IQ of 2 and it takes 3 to grunt. The elevator doesn't go all the way up, and there's a vacancy on the top floor. Your antenna doesn't pick up all the channels. You're several nuts short of a
You're Mr.
fruitcake.
Sensible, calm down, don't go too hard. You don't need the hard slap burying Flerfs in your backyard. You're a man of science, poise and grace. Mage 2 did everything to wipe the grins off the face. So Nathan, get away from those kids. The world is not flat and it doesn't have a lid. Recognize the differences between the textbook and the Bible and control yourself. Lay off your slander and your lies. You're a bunch of knobs poisoning the well of the youth, spreading lies that you like to claim as knowledge and truth. Stop spreading fresh bullshit like the butter on your bread. Maybe a musical assault will knock some sense into your head. I hope one day you'll hear these lyrics and smile, and you realise you used to be a 40-year-old child. Now it's time to wake up, open your eyes and see, and acknowledge the existence of.
You're a few clowns short of a circus. Your phone is off the hook. Your sewing machine is out of thread. You're all foam and no beer. You don't have all your dogs on one leash. An intellect rivaled only by garden tools. There's no grain in your silo, and your skylight leaks a little. Your belt doesn't go through all the loops. You couldn't pour water out of the boot without instructions on the heel. Your slinky's kinked, and you're proof that evolution can work in reverse. A few feathers short of a whole duck, one fruit short of a full bowl.
Airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars. Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now,
You
brain
stupid.
right now.
You thought it was over? Well, I'm still standing while you're swinging, flinging feces, talking shit just like the human centipede. You've got the mind of a chimp, and I'm here to expedite your shore leave. Cause I'm a seaman, but not the kind I rit up on your mum's gums. I'm the kind that sailed submarines and fired guns. I could float a boat across the ocean with my eyes closed, circumnavigate the globe with a compass and a bag of sausage rolls. Well, all you can do is nibble on your toes. I'll smack you with the hose that you call a water level, sit and swivel. You nasal gazing muppet, you can stuff it harder than the wallet stuffed by Warren Buffett. And I don't care about your sauces unless you're serving them. And I don't care about your lines unless you're curving them. Now step away from me, you're sucking up my oxygen with the vacuum where your brain should be, you dumb fuck. You guys will never know how much your support means to me. I'll see you soon, and remember, stupidity's not a right. Fight the flat earth. Fight the flat. 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 Fight the flat.